Hello and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this overgrown stone bridge in Terraria. This build is the perfect addition to any world. You can easily change up the materials or paints for a different style. So let's get to work. I went into this build not really knowing what my final product would look like. One thing I did know is that I wanted an overgrown look with lots of foliage and plants. I started with a stone pillar and used a living leaf one to add vines wrapping around it. To do this, you just add your leaves in a diagonal strip. Since the leaf blocks don't attach to the stone blocks smoothly, it's important to have a background wall behind the pillar, otherwise you'll see a bunch of spaces and have light coming through. I usually use stone background wall or leaf wall for this part. At this point, I wanted to add a stairway transition from the ground to the bridge. I wanted to show you guys that I tried a lot of different things before deciding on something that I liked. Don't be afraid to play around with your materials and paints. And as you can see, I'm trying to use a lot of different materials like wooden fences or even rope. I actually initially wanted to make like a rope bridge, but it just wasn't working out for this build, and that's okay. Maybe my next build will be that. But yeah, I tried some iron fences here, stairway, like platforms, different columns underneath, and yeah, I mean, you just try it until you end up doing something that you like. For me, I have an easier time starting a build if I can just get down the basic structure of it. So that's what I'm doing here. If you watch later in the video, you'll see I end up changing a lot of the blocks that I used for the floor of the bridge, but the overall structure is the same. I added the top of a pillar here just to match the other side. A lot of these builds, especially like with realistic structures like bridges and buildings, you want them to look a little more symmetrical. And now I'm just using the ruler tool to make sure my middle pillar is centered. Again, I'm just going in with like any block. You can flesh out the texturing and whatnot later. I started with just plain stone block for the top of the pillar, and I ended up using gray brick wall to make that middle part, but I later changed it to stone slab wall. Now I'm using plain grass wall to create the vine growth. Again, you're making just pretty much a diagonal line up your pillar. This is my favorite part of building the bridge, and this is what I looked forward to pretty much the whole time. I just love adding like a natural look to my builds. And here I use a paint sprayer with gray paint while I add in different kinds of walls for texture. Here I used gray brick wall, red brick wall, and ebonstone wall. They all give just a little bit of a different texture, and I don't know, I just feel like it makes it look a little bit more realistic. So that's pretty much how we leave this middle pillar. I didn't record the next part of the process, but I removed the NPC box at the bottom there, and I completed the left side of the bridge. I didn't record myself doing the left side because it was a lot of trial and error. I decided it would just be best to show you guys me building the right side because it was built in a more organized manner. And we're just adding some water here. I took a break from building the bridge at this point to make a quick little fishing spot underneath. I used basic wood blocks to make a small dock. Make sure your dock supports go all the way to the bottom of your body of water. And then I just put an item frame and put a fish there. You can put whatever fish you want. And later in the build I ended up adding a small table and a barrel for decoration. Okay, so back to the bridge. You'll notice that my build changes a lot throughout these clips. Again, it's a lot of trial and error, especially when you start to work on bigger builds. It's okay to try things that end up not working. So I used stone slab to make the top of the bridge here. I textured it with gray brick and ebonstone brick painted gray. just play around with the placement of your texturing. It'll come together eventually. And get ready for another big transition here. And okay, so now we have our top completed. The left side is completed and I've added some vines. If you take a look at the left side, you're gonna notice a couple blocks that aren't painted gray. This was just to help remind me which blocks to use for each section. I wanted you guys to take a closer look at this circled area here. It's a really small detail, but it can become very important. You're looking at how the blocks attach to each other. So I ended up using stone accent slab for the floor of the bridge because it creates an effect where you can see that the whole bridge is not just one big piece. And I don't know why, but for some reason at this point in the recording, I lost all of my in-game audio, so that really sucks. But as I'm figuring out this part of the build here, I just wanted to take a minute to remind you to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you learned anything in this video. So we've used stone accent block for the sides of the bridge, and now we're going to use large bamboo wall to create a wooden deck. Again, I'm going to place all the materials first so that you can see more clearly what everything is made of, and then I'm going to paint it after. Here I'm using chains to make it appear as though the bridge is suspended from that top part. That's also why creating that separation from the middle is so important. Now I'm putting wooden fence posts down on every second stair, and then I'm putting iron fence down behind the part with the chain. Now we're going to put rich mahogany beam along the top of the wooden deck. This is going to end up looking like the further side of the bridge that's made of stone, because we're going to paint it gray. Then use a single tile of chain on top of each fence post to make like a rounded look. When you use one chain, it creates a circle, and this is a really handy design to have in your back pocket because there's not a lot of materials in the game that give like a true rounded appearance. And as you can see, this looks entirely different from the left side of the bridge, and I just wanted to show how much that paint can make a difference in your build. So we're going to go in with gray paint on the rich mahogany beams and on the wooden fence, white paint on the rounded chain, and we're going to use brown paint on the large bamboo walls. For this top part, we're going to be using iridescent brick with platinum brick wall behind it to hold the chains, or make it look like it's holding the chains, and then we're going to paint it all gray. Now we're using shadewood wall to create more supportive structure for the bridge. This is a bit of an oversight on my part because I'm realizing now that there's both corrupt and crimson elements in the build. So unfortunately you're going to have to make another world to get the resources, or you can always use another material. Now we're detailing the columns with rich mahogany fence. As you can see, I accidentally added an extra pillar at that point, but it's okay, I removed it shortly after this. And again, we're painting all of the walls and fences gray. So that's pretty much the whole bridge. Now we're just adding like some kind of decorations and stuff. So again, I was going for that overgrown look, so I put vine rope and green streamers on the top and a mix of living leaves on like the very top of the bridge. And again, we're going to pay close attention to the spacing between all of the different blocks and how they attach to each other, because we don't want empty spaces because light will come through the back of them. But all you need to do to fix it is add a background wall. I think I used grass wall to kind of match the green look that this has here. So to finish it off, I used a small rubble maker with grass seeds and wood to make little growths and plants. I finished the build with deep green paint on all of the leaves and the vines. Paint just really brings everything together, so it's really important to make sure that all of your, blocks match in color and everything. So that's the full build. That's the end of today's video. If you liked this video, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more building content. Thanks for watching.